Look anywhere on the screen to progress with the story. Choices you make along the way will determine your fate. If you miss something, you can read it again in history. Once you have discovered a letter or a journal entry, you can find it in the gallery. Hover over the diamond to reveal a menu item. The story will include descriptions of violence, death, and suicide, as well as mentions of mind-altering substances and activities. It is recommended for mature audiences. Waves crash in the distance. Cicadas chirp, a breeze caresses our hair. The sun warms our skin. All is well. We're sitting on a rug in the grass, hands linked together. Our singing voices float up in unison. My chest vibrates. I can feel the air in our bodies move as one. The space between us hums with power. I close my eyes and smile, savoring the feeling. My dream is coming true. Just a little longer. Their singing falters, and I peer at them curiously, trying to hide my annoyance. Why did you stop? They squeeze my hand with a smile and shake their head. Their skin is cold and clammy. Huh? What has gotten into you? I ask. They gesture at the sky with an outstretched hand. I look up. The sun has ducked behind a cloud. Drops of wetness fall, softly patting the ground. You don't see it yet, do you? I frown, still peering up. What do you mean? When I lower my gaze, they're not there. Pressing my lips together, I stand up and search around me. Where did you go? It's pouring now. The cicadas are silent, and wind rips at my clothes. I look at my hands. Thick, warm, red. A sweet scent fills my nostrils. I venture a lick. Metallic. Greasy. What in Lura's name is happening? Darkness falls. Soon I can barely make out the silhouette of my hands. A sense of urgency grips me. I run to the tower and throw open the doors, shouting, Where are you? Empty halls stretch out before me, echoing my question. Oh, iOS NVTuber, thank you for joining. I do appreciate you joining us, and joining the Star Children. Cookies on the left, cloaks on the right, and settle in as we play some of The Remainder, a lovely little game that has been provided to me courtesy of Square Weasel Studios. In the far end, a figure is walking away into the dark. Hey, wait! Shouting, I run after them, feet pounding on the sticky, wet stones, echoing loudly. Squelch, squelch, squelch. Awkward Magikarp, thank you very much for the follow. It means a lot. Thank you very much for joining us today. Cookies on the left, cloaks on the right, and sit in and enjoy a little bit of The Remainder. I said wait. What was their name again? Why can't I remember? Why aren't you surprised? Cotton Fury, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it very much. Remember, there's cookies on the left, cloaks on the right, and welcome as we play some of The Remainder. Neo Tomat, thank you very much. I'm not sure where everybody's coming from. Did I miss a raid? Either way, I very much appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, all right. What? My. Look at you, the voice chuckles. Falling short where it counts again. Not the internet, Tomat. I've heard scary things about the internet. I hear it's full of monsters. Looks in mirror. See, there's one right now. Wiggle, 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 wiggle the tentacles. I ignore it and keep running. Sink the name, I'll know them when I find them. I grab the slippery doorknob and barge into the room. Nothing. Another door. Nothing. I run my hands over my hair, fingers digging into my scalp. Yes, all still Star Children are welcome here, Light, including the undead. What the? I recoil when I realize the sticky stuff is smeared all over me. I wipe it on my clothes, but it won't come off. Sink this! I curse, clench my teeth, and storm through yet another door. Dazaki 9A16, thank you so much for joining us. I do appreciate you becoming Star Child. Remember, cookies on the left, cloaks on the right, and welcome as we play a game called The Remainder. Look at the poor Magus, all alone in their tall prison. Shut up! My voice echoes back as I stand in an empty room. Hot breaths rasp in my throat. Why was I running so hard? It's good to see you. Hello, Dazaki. It's good to see you. Welcome to the lair. Enjoy and play well with the other Star Children. Why am I so tired? Why was I struggling? My legs tremble and I sink to my knees. It's all right. Everything is fine. Whatever it was, it doesn't matter now. Eyelids heavy, comforting numbness envelops me. I close my eyes and crumble to the floor for just a moment. Everything's fine. The sea in every direction, endless, a diamond dusting of moonlight across the surface above me. I look down into the depth, a pressure against my chest as the darkness stirs. A star, then two, then a constellation glitters into life. They approach. The darkness was not the bottomless sea, but the body of an enormous fish, its silhouette filling my entire view. A gaping mouth splits open from horizon to horizon, a deeper black within, approaching, buzzing. The progenitor hag, Suthrul, comes for me. I should be afraid. Her mouth, now all-encompassing, blots out the remainder of the feeble illumination around me. I should be afraid. Why am I not? The mouth shuts with a distant clang, a flash of lightning across the eyelid sky. Iwakia. Let's have a little fun with this, actually. Waikahap. Come on, wake up! Prickling light in the comforting darkness. A rumbling rises and falls in an anti-magic rhythm. Calm coolness gives way to crushing heat. A blanket of boulders smothers me. Hey, you alright? Do you hear me? My eyes struggle open to a face. No, go away. Stone grips my shoulders and squeezes. Still a bit out of it, eh? The metallic and greasy buzzing sound crescendos, and my mouth tastes of iron. A hand is laid upon my forehead. I open my eyes again. It's easier this time, but the rest of my body is still heavy as stones. I can't budge a hair. Feverish, but no obvious wounds. You'll be fine, I dare say. The brows furrowed deeper. Stay still and listen to me carefully. Your spell has gone very, very wrong. It's going to kill us all. It's going to kill us, and I haven't got much time to fix it. For a pause, they pat my hand, as if an afterthought. What are you talking about? What spell? I work my stiff tongue. Don't worry about that. Just stay put. I'll deal with it. They turn and stride off. Hey, wait! What's happened? A hoarseness burns my throat, and I wheeze. I peer around, trying to get a hold of my surroundings. I must be dizzy still, for everything is spinning. Why are the books flying? I squeeze my eyes shut again. This is not happening. I'll wake up soon. Sounds trickle in, rustling, clinking, a storm raging outside. One moment. Sorry about that. Annoyed, I drag myself sluggishly to my feet. An urge to gag rises, rubbing my throbbing temples, tasting a foulness in my mouth. I force down the bile. What did I do last night? That incessant buzzing. I rub my eyes again to clear them and look for a source of the sound. I catch sight of it. A cold terror creeps up my spine. A pulsing, churning thing is suspended in the air, like space is swallowing itself. Waves of moist, brilliant heat spew from it. The transparency, the symmetry, the stench, the singing. Breath catching in my throat, I freeze. What in Lura's name is that? Shapes huddle beneath the grotesque thing in the air. As I step around to get a better look, they resolve into figures, midnight silent and still as bones. The white-haired person who woke me earlier stands still. Another person is curled up on the floor, their face a mask of anguish. The emblem of a high magus hangs around their neck, and the image of an eel coils around their arm. Why do I know these symbols? Whitehair's hands are raised in a peculiar gesture towards the vortex looming overhead. Hey, I whimper, what are you doing? What is that thing? Looks like they are frozen in place. Hello? I ask again. No movement. I bump into something and look to see a couch. Beside it, there's a table on which cups lay about like drunkards. Inkwells, quills, and crumbled papers are strewn across the table and the stones beneath. A few bottles are still dripping from the mouths. Dark red spots splatter across the floor. A crash from somewhere else in the cavernous chamber pierces the silence, jolting me. I duck behind the couch, heart pounding fast. There comes a bang, sound of glass shattering, shouting. A cacophony reverberates painfully from the walls around me. I clutch my ears. Are there people fighting here? Please, let me wake up already. This isn't funny anymore. As abruptly as they came, the sound dies down. Is it over? Clamping eyes shut, I try to block out the buzzing, praying, let this be over soon. Let this be over soon. Let this... How did you get here? I nearly jump at the voice. The white-haired person is back, slumped next to the couch, head lulled, a hand to their shoulder, breath shallow. What? I just saw you over there. I turn and see the same person still in the spot under the vortex, and my mouth hangs open. Why are there two of you? I turn back to ask and see something drip from them. The glistening fluid shimmers and vanishes after it hits the floor. Are you melting? I back away a step. I heard shouting. Is there someone else here? They try to speak, but wince instead, eyes closed, throat bobbing, spitting out something black and then resting their head back. They flash a sly grin and whisper, yes, but now wishes it never set foot. Violent coughing interrupts them. More fluid drips down and evaporates. I wrinkle my nose. I don't see. What in depth is going on here? What does it look like? They say. I glance around the room with a scowl, taking care to avoid the floating thing. Like the end of the world? Another wince. They lift a finger and point. What about that? Do you recognize it? I realize they mean the vortex and avert my eyes. No. Devarna, no. Absolutely not. Should I? I can't resist a shudder. They grimace. Sink me, not even that? Your handiwork? Excuse me? I scoffed. You heard me. That thing's here because of you. The Abyss Devara. A door to the last place you'd ever want to be, make no mistake. Their eyes widen in fear and their mouth curls in disgust. Curiosity rising, I pushed myself upright and studied the scene again. Oh, I think I'd remember doing something like that. I mean, the things you forget when you're being an all-powerful mage type, you can lose track of a few things here and there. The unmoving figures catch my sight. You still didn't tell me why there are two of you, or who that other person is on the floor. They gesture at the prone figure. Bit slow on the uptake, aren't we? That's you, the one who caused all this. The great Magus, Farseer, savior of Dara Square, prodigy of the age, and so on and so forth. They're looking directly at me now. Tell me you at least remember your name. Starson. Magus Starson. They say weakly. Not to slight a dire situation, but it is somewhat amusing to see yourself like this, no? Amused? Try skeptical. Even if I believe you that I'm this Starson character, that still doesn't explain who's lying on the floor there. The stranger shakes their head and chuckles, then tilts their head limply towards an ornate mirror meandering through the air nearby. Easier if you go see yourself. I roll my eyes, step to the mirror, and pull off its velvet cover. Show me how I look. I would rather keep it vague. How I look. Interesting. That's a nifty look. Wonder what happens if I answer no. What I see leaves me stunned. The figure in the mirror is a spitting image of the person on the floor. I turn to look with wide eyes, then back to the mirror again. Every last detail, down to the small pieces of metal embedded in my skin, which I'm only now noticing. It's all identical. Then, just for a breath, the eel in my arm seems to wriggle, but I blink and it's still again. I feel lightheaded. This is not right. But how? How am I in two places at once? I turn to the figure next to me. Are we dead? Is this the afterlife? Why do you know things when I don't? How is this fair? And just who are you? They laugh soundlessly. This is too rich. You don't remember my name either. You're... Sammy. Another fit of coughing. Not even close. You must have hit your head quite severely. Worried, I run my hand over my scalp. There aren't any holes. I don't remember hitting it. But that's just how it would be if I did hit it, isn't it? My voice trails off. How shall I say this? Eyes closed and lips parted. Their voice is barely a whisper now. The name's Iliar, your partner. Don't know what you did. Found you like this. Push the words out with effort. I leaned closer to listen. A ritual must have gone astray and set loose the Abyss Devara, stripping away your memories. I did what I could. You'd be gone otherwise. They're silent for a long stretch. I nudged them. You still with me? They open their eyes again and struggle to lift a hand and point towards the other side of the room, but it flops to the floor. Sink me. They're getting so quiet I have to put my ear next to their mouth to hear them. Warm breath tickles me. Blood rushes in my ears. Your desk. Look in your journal. Find the spell. Circular gate. Black powder. Mantra. Only way to save. No time. Go. Quick. They slump to the floor. Holding my breath, I wait. Heartbeat like a hammer in my skull. Thump, thump. The buzzing fills the would-be silence in between. Resonance of torment. I drive a thumb into my temple, crushing one pain with another. A futile effort. Hey, are you alive? I reach a hand to their shoulder. My hand passes through them, pull away in shock, and watch open mouth as Iliar's body melts into sticky, transparent strands. A few breaths later, they're no more than a shimmering puddle. Tumbling back, I land on my butt and scream. I throw my hands over my mouth and clamp tight, hoping that I wasn't loud enough to draw attention, staring at the spot where Iliar had been. By the depth! I relax my hands and mutter once more, my heart slowed down to a less painful pace. Realizing that a few glowing strands still clung to my fingers, I shake them off in a panic. My skin crawls. Vivarna, what do I do now? Find and cast a spell? Are they mad? I don't even know what a spell is. What happened to them? Are they dead now? Tevis, what do I do? Let's investigate surroundings. Can't move about. It's too risky. Maybe I can find some clues as to what happened here. Crouching and stepping lightly, I scrutinize my surroundings, unsure what to look for. My foot crunches on something soft, a piece of parchment, damp and crumpled. There's writing. Could I learn something about this place? I tease it open and read it. What is this nonsense? I'm not sorry, 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 I'm not sorry. There must be dozens of pieces of paper like the first one scattered around here. Maybe I can try those. Taking a few steps, I reach up for another piece. A deafening rumble shakes my body, and before I can turn to see, a stream of moist heat smashes into me along with a shower of debris, sending me flying. The air is not for my lungs. The room spins. I clutch blindly for support as I tumble through the air and begin to crash downward. My heart is pumping out of my throat as I wait for the terrible crunch of bone on stone, but my left arm shoots out on its own and catches the floor. Then in one silky motion, my wrist, then elbow, then shoulder, smoothly brace into stony surface, settling my body into a roll instead of a splatter. With arms around my head, I roll over and over, finally coming to a stop. I lie a while panting, feeling my body, amazed that nothing smashed to bits except for the ringing head. Bruised arms. What in the depth happened, and how did I do that? I raise my bruised head, and I see that I've been flung several meters away from Abyss Divara. It quivers and sucks in the surrounding debris, falls silent for a breath, and blows out another wave of energy. I scramble up and run away as fast as my feet can carry me. Withering heat licks the back of my neck. Specks pelt me. I nearly slip, righting myself just in time to stay upright. The rumble reaches a peak. I shut my eyes, focusing only on the pounding of stone. Then it was gone. The heat, the debris, the vibration. I stopped just in time to avoid ramming into an oversized desk, panting, tasting blood in my mouth. When I looked, the Abyss Divara has returned to its previous state of quiet menace. Water here, I Elbows on the desk, I drop my head and breathe out in relief. That could have ended differently. Star, sun. I hear a faint whisper, so quiet that it's barely distinguishable from the sound of the rain. Did I imagine it? There it is again. Is it coming from the desk? The massive drift oak desk, I realize as I glance around, is the only one in the room. It could be my desk. I examine it now as if seeing it for the first time. What a disgrace. Save for a heavy book squarely set in the center, lined with the edges, everything else, paper, scrolls, measuring tools, writing instruments, are all scattered around carelessly. I file a mental note to put it in order when this is all finished. Observing the book, I notice precisely spaced stitch marks, along the spine, evenly placed rivets meticulously inscribed star sun in lead. My jittery breath steadies. My head clears somewhat. This must be the journal. If I can find the spell, I can save myself. Flip open the journal. Hello there. You're my journal, then. Will you help me make sense of all this? The paper is smooth and firm under my fingers. Thick aroma enters my nose. So familiar. Close my eyes and inhale deeply. Memories tickle the back of my head. When I open my eyes again, the arcane symbols seem to regard me even as I look at them, like seeing an old friend. Written words, soldiers of the intellect, regiments arrayed on a planar field, written in a decisive hand. Mine. Geometric diagrams, sigils, maps of heart and spirit, beyond words, ordered beauty. It must take days, perhaps weeks, to draw each, but what is time to acts of chaos defiance? It's a fun word, chaos defiance. A row of strings hangs from the bottom of the book, each with an ornamental coin tied at the end. A bookmark, perhaps. By the depths, it's an encyclopedia. How will I ever find one spell in this? A scratching sound comes from somewhere to my left. I tense up for a moment. Is it some debris, or... I wait. Another scratch, then another. Something sharp against wood. I swallow, heart pounding. Could be whatever Ilar was dealing with? What do I do? The scratching keeps coming in twos and threes from the same distance now, I realize. If they wanted to harm me, I'd be harmed already. Now be brave and look. I carefully turn my head. There's an arched doorway nearby. Dense blackness lies in the hallway beyond it. I squint. An amber glint flashes. Another scratch. I crane my head forward. Is that? A shape ever so slowly detaches itself from the darkness of the doorway. Its fur is so black that it looks like a moving shadow. Its features are sharp, merciless. It walks tiptoed, sinewy muscles rippling under the fur, poised to lunge. I stumble back, hands fumbling behind me, searching the desk for a weapon. My fingers slide around something, and I look to see a knife. A lidless eye on the base of the blade turns its gaze to me and whispers, "Thirsty. Feed me." I yelp and toss the knife. It clacks and falls behind the desk. I turn to see the dark creature inching forward unsteadily, peering around the room, sniffing the air, pausing at every little sound. It's distracted. I might have a chance. I tense up and ready myself. The creature winces and clutches its head, and I bolt for the circle of debris. Caught by surprise, it claws at my arm, misses, tearing shreds of the fabric away. I hear a strained hiss, then rapid footsteps on my heels. I don't dare slow down. Something sharp snatches at my robe, tears it, but without enough to catch to stop me. It's closing in. I can't outrun it. What do I do? I hear from right behind me. Stop! Just speak. Something large moves in the corner of my eye. Then I hear a crash. I turn to see my pursuer knocked to the ground by a bookshelf-turned projectile. Don't stop! Come to me! Ilar's voice booms. I turn and see they're moving their arm in an arc, and several thick vases from the drifting flock launch towards the creature. A head-on smash. Myriad splinters fly out. I wince at the imagined pain. But when the pieces have settled, I spot the dark creature some distance back, on all fours, mostly unharmed. How did? Ilar takes a few quick steps to my back, muttering something under their breath, then throws their open hand towards the enemy. It leaps back, bounding several meters at once, landing near the doorway. I wait for Ilar to press the attack, but they simply step out from behind me and glare at our attacker. What are you waiting for? Finish it! Seems Ilar doesn't hear me. They just stand there. Look towards the dark figure who's staring at me with pain in its eyes. It opens its mouth to say something, but all that comes out is a sound somewhere between a gurgle and a hiss. It clutches at its head again with both hands, eyes bulging, straining. Ilyar chuckles, and with a flick of a wrist launches a cabinet. The invader grimaces at me and vanishes into the dark doorway. The cabinet smashes into chunks so loud that it hurts to hear it. The room is quiet again, save for the rain and the pounding of my chest. What happened? I thought you died. You turned into... Still panicked, I fumbled to find the words. Ilyar's triumphant stance falters and I hunch, clutching at her shoulder. Hold the tears, love. I was only nearly dead, but enough to draw out that creature. I cringe. Don't call me that. Draw out? You were using me as bait. You wound me. I thought we were being partners. It worked, didn't it? Did you see the look on its face? Cross my arms and consider it for breath and sigh. Suppose. So, who or what was that creature? That might have been a Lucasi, attracted to vulnerable humans. Slippery as eels they are, but we outwitted this one. Skeptical, I cross my arms. Is that so? Quite. You won't have to worry about it for a while. Why didn't you finish it off when you had the chance? I peer around nervously, throat tight. And these Lucasi, are there more of them? Ilyar swallows, seemingly uneasy all of a sudden, eyes clamp shut and swaying. Are you all right? Say something. I reach out a hand in case they topple over. Just the one, they mutter. Oh, good, I think. Not sure what to do with my outstretched hand, I scratch my nose. Breaths return to normal. They straighten up with some effort, massaging their throats. Ilyar finally shakes their head and says, not that this isn't delightful, but we should probably get to work, eh? Come now, they say, leading towards the back of the room. My head is bursting with questions now that the danger is past, and when we get near the darkened doorway, my pulse quickens and I hesitate. With just a few gestures of the hand and some words I don't recognize, Ilyar slams the door shut and blockades it with loose stones. Show off, I mutter, staring at Ilyar. Then I notice the visible hunch and wonder how much it's costing them to do these things. A thin, silvery thread drifts close to my face. I wave it away, thinking it's spider silk. It sticks to my hand, and I realize there are dozens of these threads growing out of Ilyar's shoulder. Now that I am paying attention, their form also seems to flicker, insubstantial. Their hand is so firm, feverish, it's uncomfortable on my skin. My own hands are flickering the same way. I draw a sharp breath. What's happening? Noticing my growing unease, they face me, waving a hand nonchalantly. Don't worry, it's normal for heart vessels under these conditions. Or did you forget that too? Who said I was worried? I was just curious. What is this heart vessel? Stop reminding me that I forgot things. They shrug. Of course you are. Their body is made from waters, energy condensed. Something elementary, really, as far as magic goes. Confused, I glance towards the statue-like figures, but Ilyar seems to have read my thoughts. That's a profane vessel, your anchor to this realm. You know, your flesh. Also quite elementary, right? Answer flatly. So that's why there's two of me. One is physical, and the other is sublime. Ilyar finishes. You're catching on, they smirk, putting a thumb under my chin, eyes glitter with admiration. Exquisite. They tilt their head from the side, examining me. Caught off guard, my cheeks warm up, and I scowl. It took some skill crafting this body for my waters. If I may be so immodest, shames it falls apart in the currents. Good thing I can remake it as fast. They click their tongues. Wish you knew what a feat it is, but alas. A real shame that I can't grasp the extent of your greatness, your modesty. I swat their hand away, a puff of hair, fine strands detaching from them, drifting perilously close to my face. I flinch. They put their hands behind them, turning serious. So you understand why I would appreciate it if you didn't stray too far from your physical body. So as not to have your masterpiece fall apart, I gulp, humor fading. They nod and start walking again, leaning on. Precisely. Be a waste of my waters. Not to mention very unpleasant for you. Queasiness comes all over me, and I feel itchy all over. I brush away the strands, rubbing my arms, pressing the illusory flesh, but the itch won't go away. I don't know if this will help, but you do remember what sunkens are, do you? They say after a few steps without turning around. Huh? Bottom dwellers of the seas, heartless, hollow, hungering things that just try to feed for an aeon, can never satisfy their cravings. Their voice drips with disdain. No. Are they lurking here too? I step closer. They shake their head. Not yet. But if you stray from your body or me for too long, then... They look down pensive. Memory, reason, even the essence of who you are may be lost. So... Promise me you'll come right back away if you experience anything strange. They pause then add. Don't make me worry. Eyes heavy and head numb. I rub my temples, muttering, stranger than all this? Ilyar gives me a flat stare. Oh, you'll know when it happens. Will I ask myself. How would I know what I've already forgotten? I look at Ilyar, wondering just how much they know. Can we stay close together so I don't fall apart? Ilyar shakes his head. Too costly. My waters run low, and I can't maintain both of us constantly. Then why me? Wouldn't it be better if you find the spell? I don't even know what I'm looking for. There are reasons, but the time it would take me to explain. They become impatient. Just be careful and you'll be fine, alright? Isn't there something else I can do? Wasn't I also a magus? Can I not heal you or something? They dart a glance at me, expression inscrutable. In theory, but I'm afraid we don't have the time for that. Our best chance, only chance, is you find the spell. Please, no more questions. We need to make haste. Then it dawns on me. If it's dangerous to be far away, then why can't we just take the book and bring it to our real bodies? It is right there, I motion to the journal wobbly. It will make the whole thing so much easier. I shrug. That's the obvious thing to do, yes. Unfortunately, one of your precautions prevents it from leaving the desk. You see, things you worked on are of somewhat delicate nature, and you made sure that nobody takes off with it. They clear their throat. Only you knew how to undo those safeguards, and since your recollection is, limited at the moment, I'm afraid we must work with what we've got. I stare blankly at the floor. Of course. Why would I make things easy for myself? Another thing. The Lucasi is still around, no doubt biding its time. Don't let it approach. It lies, it charms, it'll try to trick you. If you see anyone else here, anyone at all, run back to me at once. Touch my head and sigh. What does it want, anyway? To eat me? Lick their lips. Yes, and can you blame it? They look me up and down. I stare at them. They're serious. I don't want to get into the details at this moment. Suffice it to say, be watchful at all times, and for depth's sake, don't agree to any propositions. Lucasi are powerful enough to begin with, and I am possible to get rid of if you make a deal with them. I rub the bridge of my nose. Let me get this straight. Remember all these things to avoid being eaten, but I can lose memories at any time. There has to be another way. I grab Ilyar's arm. What if you stay with me the entire time? What if you never let me out of your sight? Their head. As much as I'd like to, I must rest. That means no heart vessel journey and very limited awareness of this place. Oh, Lura, this is not happening. Pace and panic, heart racing. Insight flashes. Don't you have a spell or something to help me remember? Something hard to forget? Not a bad idea. Touches the back of the napkin. Let me see. They take a few quick steps away, pluck at something in the air, and return to me. Gripping my hand and looking all over, they fixate on one spot on my wrist and jab something into it. Ow! What? Wincing, I instinctively jerk away, but Ilyar's grip tightens, holding me still. Look at me and repeat this. Let the image and words burn into your hearts. Sensual pleasures wane, but pain I make my anchor. Long as this pain endures, I too shall remain. I grunt, struggling. Say it. The intense look in Ilyar's eyes leaves no room for arguments. I try to steady my race and pulse, drive this sharp object deeper into mine. Or into me. It burns. I struggle more. They pull me closer and hiss in my ear. Say it. Gasping for breath, I push the words out through gritted teeth. Abruptly, Ilyar lets go, satisfied. I stumble back, pulling my arm free. A shard of metal drops onto the floor with a clink, leaving drops of red. Still catching my breath, I shouted at Ilyar. How dare you? What? You asked for... You could have warned me. Ilyar shrugs. I thought it'd be no trouble for a magus of your caliber. I fume silently. Still grinning, they move on. I'll leave you to the journal then. Remember, it's a ritual at the circular gate, some black powder, and a mantra. Can you manage that much? Guess, I say, not at all certain. They smile and reach out a hand towards me. I look away. Don't touch me. It's no fun. They pull their hand back, smilingly wavering a little. Once you find the spell, bring me the instructions. Tell you how to proceed, and the Abyss Devara will soon cease to be a problem. Simple. I can make out even more of the objects behind them now. Their form is thinning out by the breath. Hurry. With a mischievous grin, Ilyar gives my wrist a squeeze. The pain of the cut flares up again. Won't forget this, right? Grit my teeth and stay calm. No, not likely, I reply with a steady voice as I can manage, refusing to meet their eyes. Their grip tightens for just a moment. I inhale sharply. Excellent. It might just save you. You'll see. They finish speaking, they let go of me and begin to disintegrate. Take several steps back, staring as they disappear. Their smile is the last to go. I wonder if that even can be done on purpose. Finally alone. Let out the anger. I notice my trembling knees and suddenly realize how tired I feel. A hand on the table, teeth clenched, I fight to stay on my feet. Just me now. No one can help me. No one can tell me what to do. No one. I alone can change my fate. I and only I can. You mess up. Shut up. My fist slams the table with a loud. Pain wells, swims up to my arm and shoulder. Ow! Too hard. Not hard enough. It's coming. Yeah, I can help myself. I'll have to do it. Trust myself. Stand tall and get to work. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I pull myself to standing by the desk light, anger fading, hand pulsing, wishing I didn't smash that sunken thing. Glad that I did. Remember, don't forget, don't let anyone approach. Find the spell. I repeat the words over in my head. I repeat my head over and over, trying to make them stick. Pages of the book flutter through the air still. Weird. I'm procrastinating, aren't I? Yes, you are. Fine, I'll get to work. I regard the book, pondering what to do. Hello, Journal. It's me, your master. I'm going to need a miracle. Please tell me you have one. Closing my eyes and desperately hoping, I pinch one of the bookmarks at random and open up the page it marks. It reads... Date 269548. Mark. Cleansing. Expulsora ritual records. Held by some visiting shamans of the Orient. A potent brew of mapacho leaf was drank by a circle of third-degree magi, myself included, resulting in distressing nausea and the pain in the chest. Reached a point where I wished to be dead rather than to endure another moment of pain. Then suddenly I found myself transported out of the profane realm and into the pentagonal chamber within the seas. The group of Diverna seemed to have been expecting me there. They instructed me to take a knife with a single eye in its hand and carve out a portion of my heart that was tainted black. I did as told and then placed the ejected back into the profane plane, vomiting profusely until a piece of still pulsing flesh came out. The knife had also magically manifested in my hand. I felt a most pleasant sensation of joy and relief in the chest, followed by a surge of waters. I was told to discard the piece of flesh, but chose to keep it for further study. How is it still pulsing? How long will it persist? What can be done with it? I must experiment that. Interesting, but I don't have a clue what it's about. There's no mention of a gate, black powder, or a mantra. I thumbed the side of the volume. It's at least 1,000 pages. Look, press on. Should I push on and hope for a miracle? It's that or be consumed by the abyss, I suppose. I also don't want to have to tell Liara that I gave up before I started. Imagine the tongue lashing I'd get, with that grin, no less. The stinging of my wrist swells just then, irritating me. I bite my lip and focus on the words. Mouth dry, the reddish-black ink glistens menacingly. Will I die here if I fail? Rustling of paper is like sand grating my eardrums. Why does it have to be me? Tepid leather cover sweats against my skin. Distant rumble, rolling, an inert rumble, pounding. It's not even my fault. I never chose this. Crash, darkness beyond the window pane. Sharp, blinding flash. Shut my eyes from the piercing glare of the arc lamps of the office of direct discipline. Rain pelting the window. Ruler mercilessly strikes in my hall. Slap. Slap. Strikes 13, the clock. Eyes stinging, I stand. I mustn't shed tears. I mustn't look weak. I won't give her the satisfaction. A tobacco-laden voice, gruff, squares the corners of this office. That's enough of that, Star-Son Fanaran. You do not give excuses. You do not shirk a responsibility. Think not of only your image, but the image of all Magi. Do you understand? Stiff nod, fire in my chest burning, stifling. I can't hear you. Do you understand? Flecks of white fly from her sharp lips. Yes, Miss Lansworn. The plump belly loosens a notch, too close. I will myself not to tumble backward. Now go draft the letter of confession. You lunch after, not before. Yes, Miss Lansworn. Pressing my trembling lips, I touch the tips of my right hand fingers to my chest and then to my forehead. Turn around and march off, eyes locked on the square patterned tiles. 11 rows, wall to wall, 12 columns, window to door, 86 intersections. They said it was improper to dine with the lowborn, but she was kind to me. Step between the lines. They said it was scandalous to touch an untouchable, but I liked the softness of her skin. Don't cry. They made me turn her away. They made me. The only nice thing I had. Don't cry. Crash. Bright flash upon the journal pages. Rain pelting the window. I stroke my palm. The ghost pains haunt. Right? Lightning crashes again, but this time my heart does not jump to it. Solidarity settles with me. I've endured pain since I was a child. Did I let it get to me? No, I'm here now, surviving. Could make me stronger if I chose it. The space of just a few breaths, defiance fills me, and I'm nearly vibrating with excitement, breast swelling with confidence. I got this far. Let's see how far I can go. I think... I do have the ability to save, so I'm going to go ahead and save. I'm actually feeling a little bit tired because we're on hour 3 here of gaming tonight. And I think it was a good first start with the remainder here. Not so bad. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go read over to somebody. And then I'm gonna go conk out probably. Let's see here who's on. That's a lovely cutie. Let's go raid over to Octoset. Haven't raided over to them in a smidge. Let's go ahead and grab them. Alright, everybody. Thank you very much for your attendance. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful day. And remember to keep your loved ones close, because you never know when the stars might align. And I'll see you next time. Ciao.